What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5, Episode 18, All Roads Lead, ... Oh, 3 dots. What does it mean? So, yeah, this one, I'm kind of curious because I'm 3 episodes behind. I gotta get caught up, but I've already seen Infinity War, so I'm wondering how that is going to tie into the show. Now, there's a good chance it might not tie in at all, because spoilers ahead for Infinity War. If you haven't seen it yet, yeah, the whole thing that Thanos does at the end, snaps his fingers, half of humanity disappears. Well, not just humanity, half of everything disappears. So I do have to wonder, is this going to affect the show at all? Are there going to be people on the show that disappear? I kind of feel like, part of me feels like they could have done it, because we've seen in the past how what happens in the movies affects the show. With Hydra being revealed inside of S.H.I.E.L.D., that was a huge thing in Season 1. After Age of Ultron, we got to see the helicarrier and how that tied into the movie. After Civil War, we see Coulson sitting there looking at the TV screen as Captain America has been declared a criminal. So they have shown before that the TV show is affected by the movie. However, this one feels like, I don't know. I'm curious to see how this could possibly happen. It does make sense, because we do see in the lighthouse a lot of humanity has been destroyed. So it could be that that's because half of it was taken out by Thanos, and maybe that's what leads to this. I'm still not entirely sure. I'm still curious to see what's going to happen. But anyway, all that aside, we do have this episode where Ruby does manage to get into the chamber. Fitz and Simmons pretty much get threatened into doing it. I still kind of feel like, I don't know, in my mind, I imagine them thinking, if this is all it takes to save the world is to just not fix this chamber, who cares if we die? It means the world gets to live on. Yes, we die, but we die together. I don't know, it feels kind of poetic. I don't want to see them die. However, I do kind of feel like if it means saving the world, this is probably something that you should sacrifice yourself for. So it's a minor thing. Honestly, the big problem I do have with this, though, is in the end, Ruby does get into the chamber. She gets the gravitonium. A couple holy crap moments, whenever Von Strucker's there and he's just like, I got you. And then she, not having any control over her powers, crushes his skull. I'm like, holy crap, what the hell? So yeah, that happens. And then in walks Yo-Yo into the room, and she sees her, throwing everything everywhere. And Daisy's like, get out of here. And she's like, she's got it, doesn't she? She's the destroyer of worlds. And she's just like, don't do it. What are you talking about? She kills her. This is a big problem for me. Because, first of all, Yo-Yo sees this as, oh, I did it. I saved the world. I stopped her. Look at me. But here's the thing. We already know, because we were in the future, we know that it was Daisy that destroyed the world, not Ruby. So you killing her doesn't change anything. And honestly, it kind of pushes things forward, because we see at the end, Hale, after Yo-Yo kills her daughter, is like, oh, well, I guess S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't want to work with me then. Hey, you, tall blue guy, you go take him out, please. This is obviously leading towards what's going to happen later with the Kree stepping in and taking over humanity. Obviously, this is just pushing it along this way, because Yo-Yo was so stupid that in her rush to get things done, she's like, oh, you know what? She's not the one that destroyed the world in the future, but she's got the gravitonium inside of her, so let me just kill her, and that saves the world, because I killed the person who didn't destroy the world. Stupid. So, yeah, that was frustrating for me. Honestly, I've been frustrated with some of Yo-Yo's decisions, like not telling the team that trying to save Coulson's life is what's going to end the world. She doesn't tell him that. Now she's, being stupid, helping Fitzsimmons get out instead of just kind of keeping him where they can't hurt anybody, where they can't do anything. For some reason, her abilities, I'm not really sure how they're supposed to, I don't know, the writers, for some reason, kind of feel like at some points using her powers hurts her, and then at some points using her powers does not hurt her. She throws Mac inside the cell last episode. Oh, yeah, her powers didn't hurt her arms there, but then she has to take the guns in the last episode near the end of it all of a sudden her powers are hurting her arms. And then she tries it at the beginning of this episode, her powers are hurting her arms again. And then at the end of this episode, she goes and kills Ruby, and her powers didn't affect her arms at all. Where's the consistency there? So it's weird. It's like her decisions and the writing around her powers right now, it's kind of frustrating. The writing is inconsistent and her decisions are just plain stupid to me. So, whatever the case, Ruby is dead now. The gravitonium does some sort of explosion thing after she dies. I'm still not entirely sure what that means. Chance it could have been transferred into Daisy at this point. I will say I do find the gravitonium interesting because we do see, after Creel touched it, he heard, what's his face? Quinn, or Quill? No, Quinn. And the other guy, the doctor that was sucked in there. He hears both of their consciousnesses screaming inside of it, and it's like in his mind as well. So at that point I kind of realized, oh, this is what's going to cause Daisy to go insane and destroy the world. Because whenever the gravitonium does eventually, I guess, I don't know if that explosion at the end is what caused her to absorb it or if there's going to be something else that causes it. But whenever that does happen, the voices in her head are going to cause her to just probably lose her mind. And it sounded like it wasn't just the two of them. And even there's a drawing that, what's her face? Robin did. And it was a human being with like 5 or 6 humans inside of them. And so I'm wondering if maybe those two, the Doctor and Quinn, aren't the first two to get sucked into the gravitonium. Maybe there are actually more people inside of there and their consciousnesses as well. And so that could be a lot. To be hearing all these voices from so many different people, that could definitely cause somebody even like Daisy to go insane. So I'll be very curious to see, what's going to happen. Does this mean Daisy now has the gravitonium inside of her? Is this going to cause her to go crazy hearing all these voices? I don't know, but I'm very, very curious. Aside from that, we also see Talbot, after getting reprogrammed by Hydra in this episode, he apparently, his mission was to go get Robin and take her to Hydra for some reason. I don't know what Hydra wanted with her. I guess, maybe they realized, oh, she can predict the future, so we need an asset like that. But I don't know, it kind of feels like, based on what Hale is doing right now, Robin shouldn't really be that big of a concern for her. She should be more focused on helping Ruby and the gravitonium and all that stuff. So I don't know, it just kind of seemed random that all of a sudden Hydra wants Talbot to go get Robin for him out of nowhere. But we do see, he knocks out the mother, he starts to take her, but then Coulson and Mac both see him and manage to stop him before he leaves, and then he's like threatening, to kill her, let me go. And then he realizes that Hydra has messed with his mind. He's like, I can't trust myself anymore. Puts the gun to his chin, and then Coulson kind of convinces him to point the gun at him so that way Matt can step in and ice him. So, they obviously stop him, but there is one thing that I do have a problem with. And this is weird for me because this is like 2 episodes in a row now for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where the writing has really been an issue. Because the first issue, obviously, that I have is Yo-Yo and her arms. The fact that she's able to use her powers sometimes and then sometimes she's not. That is a plot hole that they've made. Kind of a problem, This one, for me, is even more of a plot hole, considering Mac and who he is. He apparently saw Talbot messing with the computers and then heard him say compliance or something about compliance. I thought that Talbot said that sort of to himself to where Mac couldn't hear him. And even like whenever he's talking in the room with Robin and her mother, he's talking about, oh, busted. I'm just like, okay, so obviously he's saying this so low that they can't hear him because, if they did hear that, if the mom heard busted, her first thing would think, oh, he's doing something evil. I need to tell someone about this. But the fact that she didn't react like that, he's talking to her about, yeah, I have a son, I just wanted to see her pictures and all that stuff, and she's actually believing him. I'm thinking, okay, so she didn't hear the busted, which means earlier Mac didn't hear the thing about compliance. He didn't hear what Talbot was saying. He just walked in, saw him on the computers, believed what he said, and then Talbot left. But then later in the episode, he's telling Coulson, I saw him messing with the computers, I heard him say something about compliance. I'm like, you heard that, and you saw him messing with the computers, and you didn't say anything? What? Are you stupid, Mac? Like, that's just based on Mac's character. he would instantly say something, be like, "Look, I don't know if this means anything, but I saw Talbot messing with the computers earlier. Did you check the computers? Oh no, I don't know much about them. So if one of you guys wants to go check them for me, something like that." But no, he's just like, ignoring it. Oh, this computer on Robin's room, it's not work. I saw Talbot on the computers earlier, and he did say something about compliance, and that is a Hydra thing. Maybe I'm putting two to two together way too late. It was dumb. In my opinion, that is probably the stupidest thing that this season has had, is that moment right there. So, I don't know, that was frustrating. They are still doing the whole Daisy and Deke thing. I don't know why. It's kind of being played up as a joke right now. The scene where he's talking to Mac and Coulson about it is hysterical. Because Mac is talking to him about it, and he's already acting kind of like an idiot around her. Like Daisy's giving her speech, and he's just sitting there. He's got like a toothpick in his mouth, and he's like standing all cool like. He's like, "Yeah, we gotta listen to her. Do what she says." Just like, you're an idiot. But Max sort of calls him out about it. He's just like, "What? Like what? No. That's not at all. You're way off base on this, Mac." And then Coulson's reaction, "No, well, I believe him." It's perfect. And then, of course, he asks them, what would I do if I did happen to have some feelings towards her? And both of them are having issues with their women right now, so they're just kind of like, we're not the people to ask. But ultimately, I don't know, just the way it's handled, because they both know that clearly he does like her. He's attracted to her. I think he's starting to respect her as a person. So it does make sense that he is sort of falling for her. But she's like, "So what if, even if I do, I mean, she hates me." And both of them are just like, "Yep, that's true." I don't know, because I kind of expected, if this were like a CWDC show, this would be where, "Nah, man, you got some good stuff about you. I'm sure she's just acting tough because that's how Daisy is, you just got to go talk to her." But no, they play it up completely 100% as a joke. They're just like, "Yep, she does hate you." And then he talks about how, he in the future, apparently they take lemons and put them on a sheet of paper or something and give that to the person that they like, and that's a thing, and that's how they tell each other that they like each other. And Max just like, "Oh yeah, that's totally something we do." And Cole's like, yeah, you should totally do that." I don't know, it was funny. It was really, really funny. I hope they're not actually playing this up for romantic drama's sake, just because now's not the time for that. The world is ending, Thanos appears, I don't know, possibly he'll show up in the show or something about him will be talked about. So now is not the time to be dealing with Daisy and Deke's romance. However, if they're just putting it in here for lighthearted moments like that, that's perfect. I'm completely okay with that. So we'll see how that's going. But yeah, that's the end of this episode. So now I got 2 more to get caught up on. So I'll see you guys in the next one in just a minute. What just happened? I'm sorry. What's going on? I'm so confused. Okay, this is episode 19 now, option 2, and what just happened? Like, I'm so... Wow, okay. So anyway, this one, we see the people that Hale contacted. I think they call them the Scavengers, I believe. Deke apparently knows who they are. They're people that just go around and they pretty much take whatever they want. And they're asking, how do we fight them? He says, we never did. We just gave them what they wanted and they left. So they're coming for the Gravitonium because they really want it for whatever reason. And so they're attacking. Nothing that we are doing is stopping them. It's just, shooting, and then just like whatever, shrugging off the bullets and then killing people left and right. So there is a little bit of a... It's not a Deus Ex Machina, but I don't know, it's weird. It's one of those things where, in my mind, it's a Deus Ex Machina in reverse. It's something random that happens that makes a situation more difficult instead of fixing a situation. I'm not sure what that would be called. Is there like another way to put it? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, one of those happens because Coulson, Patrick Warburton, pops up again. He's just like, greetings, Earthlings. Once again, I've come to help you out. And he starts listing things. It's like, okay, so there's something going wrong. Is it a weather thing? Is it nuclear thing? And it's taken a while, so Coulson's like, yeah, whatever, nuclear's close enough. Clicks it right as he says, or is it an alien invasion? I'm just like, that was pretty dumb, It's one of those things where, why wouldn't you wait to see if alien invasion is an option? Because it feels like that would be an option. So, ultimately, they prepare for a nuclear uh, radiation, poison, whatever. They prepare for that instead of the alien invasion, so it just locks down the lighthouse. Which then, obviously, these aliens have the power to transport themselves through space and time. We saw Coulson and Hale do that to get to see him, the main leader at first. So they transport themselves into the lighthouse. That's how they're going around killing everyone. We see they kind of split into a few groups. Fitz and Simmons are with Piper and another agent who I don't know. And then there's another agent who I don't know. I don't know, these two guy agents just show up out of nowhere. I'm like, are they going to be important at all, or are they just kind of side characters, kind of similar to Piper, that they're agents with lines now? But there's one guy, I think his name started with an M, and the other guy, his name was Kim, and the only reason I remember that is because he was an Asian guy, and I'm just like, giving him the name Kim just sounds kind of racist. But anyway, but Kim is with Coulson and May and Mac, I believe, are the three up there. Deke is there as well, and then the other guy, the other agent with lines, and then Piper are with Fitz and Simmons. Fitz goes off by himself to try to see if he can override the shutdown procedure. Deke shows up to help him at one point because he knows Fitz is about to get himself killed. And one of his big things in this episode, and they even talk about this at one point. And I still just, whenever they talk about this, I get scared. He's talking about the multi-universe theory, parallel universes, that type of thing. He's like, isn't it possible that we do save the world and I just came from a different timeline, and so this is an entirely different universe? And Fitz is pretty much, he and Simmons both think the same thing. It could just be that this is the one timeline, and as soon as things change, there's a chance that Deke might just pop out of existence. And so, that's kind of the thing where it's like, oh, well, is Deke still around? And Fitz looks over him and is like, yeah, he's still here. It's like, oh, then we're still good. Every time they talk about this, I'm just waiting for one of them to die and just be like, what? But I thought, and Deke's still here. Does that mean he's... Stop doing this to me, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because Simmons said it, Yo-Yo said in this episode, they're both just like, oh, we're not going to die because Deke's still here. Oh, Yo-Yo, you're not going to die because you saw yourself in the lighthouse. That doesn't mean things can't change, I don't know, it feels like they're way too overconfident, and it feels like they're just building it up till eventually, oh no, we lost Fitz, or oh no, we lost Yo-Yo. I'm freaking out. We did see the flashbacks though. We saw Fitz and May and Yo-Yo all still alive in those flashbacks. So I'm kind of wondering, because this is the last episode before Infinity War previewed in theaters, if the show is going to tie into the movie. I'm wondering if maybe the half of humanity that disappeared, Simmons was on that side, Mac was on that side, Coulson was on that side. Maybe. I don't know. But whatever the case, let's talk about some of the stuff that just was crazy at the end of this episode. So first of all, Daisy goes off on a little bit of a side quest. She's trying to get this thing that will help keep Coulson alive. And it ends up involving the centipede thing that was in like the very first season, the thing that John Garrett had to keep himself alive. And so this guy, Gary Busey's son, comes back again, makes another appearance, and he's talking about, oh yeah, I found this thing, and it's apparently John Garrett's, but it has some sort of like healing thing that the Nazis had, and I don't know where it is, but I did find this thing. I don't even know where this place is, and Daisy's just like, this isn't a place. And then we see in the very last scene, she's digging up the grave of her mother. I'm just like, oh my gosh, they're going to use her healing thing, whatever, that kept her young. They're going to use that. Is that still, I don't know. I can't remember. I know it kept her young, but does that mean that she can't die? Because she did die. So does that mean that if she died, her blood won't be able to heal anymore? Or, I don't know. I'm kind of curious how that works. Because if her blood still has healing capabilities, then why didn't she come back to life after Daisy's dad killed her? Just one of those little things that I wonder if they're going to talk about. She's going to dig up the body, get the blood, but there's no more healing capabilities to it because she's dead now, possibly. So that's going on with Daisy. We see everybody's split up, and then eventually it kind of gets split into two groups because Fitz and Deke end up with the group in the control room. Meanwhile, Yo-Yo takes Piper and the other agent. They're fighting in the hallway while Simmons and Talbot are left behind in the room with the gravitonium. And I was wondering, like, okay, what's going on with Talbot? There's something off about him. There's something that feels like he's getting a lot more time. It feels like they're building up a story for him. And then when we get into the room with him and Simmons, he's just like, looks like we're the last line of defense. And he's sitting there talking to himself. He's like, got a gun. He's just like, we're the last line of defense. Just aim straight. We're going to do. And then he kind of bumps into the device that Ruby used and then pulls it down. And she's like, yes, I can fix this. I'm just like, Talbot, what are you doing? What are you doing, Talbot? You gotta go crazy. And this is concerning me that you're. And then sure enough, he ices Simmons, hops in a thing, puts it up to 100%, gets infused with the gravitonium. And I'm just like, what? What's going on? Because the thing is, we've heard that Daisy is the destroyer of worlds, which means there was something to do with the gravitonium. She gets it. She cracks the world open because of that. So what does it mean now that Talbot has it? Is this something that did happen? In this timeline where she destroys the world, did this actually happen? Did he actually get the gravitonium and then somehow it got back out of him and went into Daisy? Or did he actually destroy the world? Is he the destroyer of worlds? Is it actually Talbot? If so, I'm going to have to change the song that I had in my head. I don't know. I'll explain it later. But yeah, so he's got the gravitonium. He rips through all the scavengers. He just crushes a few of them. There were 4 that were attacking the team, and they were running out of bullets, and all of a sudden, in he walks. And, Coulson's seeing this happen in a day's view because he gets knocked to the ground, and you can see he's hurt pretty bad. Probably something to do with his injury. And just the door lifts up, and Talbot walks in slow motion, and everybody's pause, looking at him, what's going on? And then all the scavengers turn to look at him, and he just, lifts him up, and then you just see him, get just crushed into little balls. And everybody's just like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden he just starts lifting Coulson off the ground. He's ripping a hole above them, and he lifts himself and Coulson up through the hole. And everybody's just looking up what? I don't know what happened. What's he doing? I'm confused. And the thing is, there was a part of me, whenever he got into the device, that's thinking, he already kind of has lost his mind. We see him talking to himself a lot. I'm wondering if, because he's been so, his mind has been so destroyed by what Hale and Hydra did to him, I'm wondering if he's going to be able to take the mental torture of hearing all these voices. Because maybe he's already dealt with that in his own way. Possibly. I'm not entirely sure. There's a chance that I'm just entirely wrong, and, he's just going to, get destroyed in the next episode by the gravitonium inside of him, or he's going to do something and kill himself off. I don't know. But I'm definitely confused. I don't know what's going on. I'm curious, though. It's got me interested for sure. I'm freaking out. What the hell is Talbot doing with the gravitonium? Why is he all of a sudden Superman and just lifting himself? The scene where Coulson's like looking up at him and he's looking down at him, I don't know, it was kind of funny to me because it almost kind of feels like, Talbot, if they did speak in that scene, it felt like Talbot would just be like, "Don't worry, Coulson, I'm here for you," and like lifting them up, and it's almost like supernatural, like, I don't know, it's funny. But yeah, that's about it for this episode. So just so many things going on. I don't know what to expect. Like I said, there is a chance that this last episode might have a tie-in with what happened in Infinity War. There's a chance that it might not. There's a chance that they just didn't communicate at all and completely ignored it. Or there's another possibility that they know we expect it, and so they're actually going to wait until the end of the season to tie it into Infinity War with people, dying off or whatever. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll wait to see. I'm definitely looking forward to it, so let's get to this last episode before I'm caught up. See you there. And finally, episode 20, The One Who Will Save Us All. So we do have, finally, references to Infinity War and what's going on. However, we still haven't seen any sort of indication that Infinity War has actually ended yet. And there are a couple possibilities. Like I said in the last episode, there's a chance that they could be doing all of this while Avengers Infinity War is happening, and then the end of Infinity War will happen more near like the end of the season possibly. But we'll see. You know, I'm interested to see where this is going because they do reference that Thanos is actually on Earth in this episode. So either this is like the first time he went to Earth, or I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Honestly, I'm not even sure exactly how long Infinity War was supposed to have taken. So there's a good chance that this could be like, you know, the very first time anybody shows up on Earth, any of his henchmen or anything. So with all that being said, we do have some very interesting developments. First of all, we see at the beginning of this, Talbot goes to see the Borag? No. I don't remember the name of the beings that attack them for whatever reason, but apparently they're part of this group called something. Once again, names are not my strong suit. But it's apparently something I was seeing a couple like articles online. You know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. introduces the whatever. So I guess this is actually something from the comics, and I just have no idea who they are. But we do get to see one of them is a Kree, and his name is Cassius. So clearly, this is showing that the events that are leading to the timeline that ends with the world cracked in halves. I don't know why. I don't know what's going to happen. But apparently this is all leading towards there. One of the things that we do find out, though, in this episode is that there is still gravitonium in Earth, you know, under the surface. And that is something that I was kind of wondering. You know, Talbot just took all of the gravitonium inside of him, so that means Daisy can't have destroyed the world. So what's going to happen? Well, apparently there still is some gravitonium that can be used. So, yeah, I'm not really sure what that means. I'm not sure like how that's supposed to play into it, how Daisy's going to get a hold of that. But it does really feel like all of this is just leading to the timeline where the world gets cracked and, yeah, everything doesn't work out in the end. So with all that being said, the one big thing obviously in this one is Talbot turning against the team. I was wondering, you know, because he was sort of crazy already, and yes, he lost his mind, but I was like, okay, so maybe this is actually going to help him be prepared to deal with all these voices inside of his head, because he's pretty much been talking to himself already. At first it seemed like maybe he would be, and he even tells Coulson, they just need a general to get him to shut up. So I was like, oh, well, maybe he actually does have control. Maybe he has been able to keep the voices in his head under control. But we slowly start to realize that he feels just all-powerful. You know, so it's not really the voices in his head that's making him crazy. It's more just the fact that he now has all of this power, and he had already kind of lost his mind. And so now he feels like, oh, well, I'm a superhero, and I can save the day, and nothing can stop me, so I'm invincible. Yeah, it is... it does sort of make sense for Talbot, just based on his character, honestly. And it's kind of sad, because we still, you know, things have just not been going right for him. He hasn't been able to see his family. He's only been able to talk to his wife, and she turned him against S.H.I.E.L.D. So after all of this, like, he gets the gravitonium, and he looks like a superhero. I'm like, maybe he's going to get a happy ending. And then slowly you start to realize that this power has gone to his head, and now he's in control of these aliens. He wants a part of this inner circle, whoever they are, trying to get a foothold. He kills one of them by sucking them in with the gravitonium. And it's just like, yeah, he's lost his mind. And then he comes back, and of course Coulson hears Cassius' name. He's like, no, this isn't a good idea. And he's like, Coulson, are you against me? I told you, I'm the one in charge here. And then May and Daisy show up to kind of rescue them. But of course he sees this, oh, this is an act of betrayal, and threatens Coulson's life. And then Hale sort of steps in and helps him out, only for her to get crushed. I'm just like, why, Talbot? Why can't you just have a happy ending? So that's pretty much all that's going on with them. At the end, we do see Daisy given to Cassius for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know what he plans to do with her, but yeah, that's a thing, apparently. There is a chance, because we do know that she is the one that supposedly cracked the world in half. There's a chance that he could use some sort of like mind thing to convince her to work for him, and that's why she ends up cracking the world in half, because she's being mind controlled by someone and uses the gravitonium. I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to see where this is going. Yeah, because now it feels like Talbot's the bad guy. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, okay, so who is the bad guy here? Who are we trying to stop? And these people show up, or these aliens, and I'm just like, okay, so now we've got a little bit of a bad guy. Obviously, Hydra, always kind of the bad guy, but it really feels like, okay, now we're trying to stop them from taking over the world. And then all of a sudden, Talbot just gets the gravitonium, stops them. I'm like, well, who's the bad guy now? And then he just starts acting like the bad guy. And I'm just like, oh, Talbot, now we have to stop him. And not even Daisy is strong enough to stop. Like, he really does seem super powerful. Like, it's going to be very, very difficult unless somebody gets some gravitonium inside of them, and then they'll have the power to stop him. And all I'm thinking is, oh, I wonder who's going to get it. Could it possibly be Daisy, and then she fights him and wins? And things are just, it's looking like we're leading to the ending where the world gets cracked in half. And all I can think is, why? How? How are they going to stop this? You know, it's just one of those things where the writers have written themselves into a corner now, and I don't see really any possibility of them being able to turn this around unless there's some sort of stupid story element that they write in, like, oh, Deus Ex Machina, you know, somebody steps in and it's the one thing that they need to save the world or something like that, or they time travel back again. I don't know. That's the thing, is I'm excited to find out what's going to happen next, but at the same time, I'm worried that when all of this is said and done, when it all ends, it's going to be something stupid that ends up saving the day. Because that's really what it feels like they have to do at this point, is do something ridiculous to be able to change time. Because everything that we've seen up until now is sort of convincing us that time can't be changed. So why would we think any different? So anyway, aside from that, there are a couple other things to talk about. First of all, we see Daisy coming back with her mom at the beginning of the episode, her mom's body, talking to Simmons to get her to make the centipede thing that will save Coulson. Yo-Yo, there's like a little bit of a fight between her and Yo-Yo. It almost feels like, based on how the music is acting, that Yo-Yo's in the right. But we all know that Yo-Yo's wrong, right? Like, I'm not the only one that thinks that. That Daisy, even though she is doing some things that sort of makes me think, oh, well, this is just leading towards the end of the world, you know, trying to save Coulson's life. At the same time, Yo-Yo is kind of an idiot as well because of what she did with Ruby. You know, and she's talking to Dave, if it weren't for you, we would have been able to stop them. People died because of you. And I'm like, no, you killed Ruby, which caused Hale to go to these people to tell them, hey, S.H.I.E.L.D. has the gravitonium. That's what led to them coming to take you out. Yeah, Daisy wasn't there because she was doing her own thing, but if not for the fact that you killed Ruby, none of this would have happened. So look in the mirror, you dumbass. I don't know. I really don't like Yo-Yo this season. She's really been acting like an idiot, and that's kind of sad because previously she's been an interesting character. I've enjoyed her and Mac's relationship. I've enjoyed her, you know, learning about her powers and doing her thing. I've enjoyed Yo-Yo as a character. This season, though, her decisions have just been entirely idiotic. So it's pretty frustrating. But ultimately, you know, we do see Simmons working on it, and Fitz, you can see, is hesitant. He's not really sure if he wants to do this. Simmons is like, I don't really want to either, but it's our only option right now to save Coulson. So you can kind of see where the divide in the team is still there. On top of that, we do see a little bit more with Deke and Daisy. They're really pushing this now. You know, at first I thought maybe there was going to be some more jokes in this one because Deke does go to talk to her and is about to tell her how he feels. They do mention that he apparently did do the lemon thing with the paper, which is pretty hysterical. But you can tell they're actually trying to build this romantic tension. I'm just like, why? We don't need this right now. If you want to throw it in as a joke, fine. But no, this doesn't work. And ultimately, you know, at first she doesn't really act like she's interested. But then as they're flying up in the atmosphere, what does she do? Oh, she grabs his hand. Oh, isn't that sweet? I'm just like, there are so many other things going on right now. This is the thing I care about the least. And you're actually trying to make it something important. Why? So, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm the only one that feels this way, but frankly, I just think this is something, if you're gonna do a romance in a situation where the world is going to end soon, and, you know, they have talked a little bit about romances. You know, Mac and Yo-Yo are dealing with their stuff. Fitz and Simmons obviously got engaged, but I mean, that's one that all of us wanted to see. And then Coulson and May have their little thing going on as well. But it always feels like little character developments. It never really feels like this is a story we want to focus on and take a break from the plot to talk about. It always feels like these little glances or little one-liners where you can see the frustration between them and that they want to work it out but they don't really have time to. With Deke and Daisy, it feels like we're taking pauses in the story for us to talk about it. I shouldn't feel that way because this isn't important. It's not part of the main story, so why do I care? So anyway, with all that being said, overall, I'm still really enjoying this season. Yes, there are some problems. Yes, there are a few things, mainly with Yo-Yo and a couple writing decisions I don't think are working out. And then just the idea that this all might end up having this kind of sappy, cheesy ending where some Deus Ex Machina saves the day or something along those lines. I don't really know. Ultimately, though, I still am interested to see where it's going to go. They've done a very good job of writing an interesting story. Now we just got to find out, are they clever enough to be able to write an ending that not only makes sense but isn't kind of cliche? So overall, I'm excited. I'm happy. That's it for these 3 episodes. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts over these 3? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reviews. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.